So, Gloria, thanks again for giving me this opportunity. What do you want to start with? The coat of arms? The flag?
It's entirely up to you.
Entirely up to me. Tell us how you got into the celebrations committee for Grenada's independence.
Okay. At the time, I was acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Social Affairs, and we did a lot of cultural events, and I suspected that it was because of my interest in culture and history that I was asked to be the coordinator of the cultural events.
So what sort of events they had culturally? Because we have a whole set of build-up for the 7th. Was this the same thing?
Well, we had a national choir, which was made up of choirs from all the churches, and they numbered over 150 people. We had a steel band competition. We had a calypso competition. We had a queen competition, an independence queen competition.
Who won? Could you remember who won?
I don't remember her name, but I'm seeing her in my memory. If I saw her walking on the road, I would know.
You know it's okay, all right.
She came
from high school or convent?
She came from St. Andrews.
Okay, so she's from St. Andrews.
She came from SAS or some.
So it was by parish back then?
No, yes, it could have been.
Okay.
But yes, and then we had a historical pageant, which traced the history of Grenada from
Columbus?
Pre-Columbus.
Pre-Columbus?
Well, it had to be pre-Columbus because by then we knew that there was no new world really. There was a world that wasn't European and wasn't Western, wasn't Eastern, sorry. It was Western. But from pre-Columbian times, with the Amerindians and then the coming out of Columbus, who sighted Grenada. All right? He did not land on Grenada.
At all?
No. He just saw the island and he said, oh, I'm going to call that Conception because it was a feast of the Immaculate Conception.
But that was in what, 1792? No, 1498?
1498.
So what happened?
What happened when?
Well, it's the first time I'm hearing this. All right, go ahead, sorry.
That he didn't land? No, he didn't land.
Okay, all right.
You see, he had started his first voyages were from the top, the Bahamas and so on, and he saw the bigger islands. And this time he went slower down and he started from the bottom. And that's when he called Trinidad La Trinity, because of the 3 mountains that he saw from the sea.
When I did West Indian history in school, I don't remember that part. Okay, so you had a cultural presentation from pre-Columbus right back to
the present,
to the
independence.
to 1974. Now, let me ask you a question, because I was a teenager back then. Our family was in Trinidad from the 1st of February, I think, from what I remember. And we came back after independence celebrations. And I know there were a lot of demonstrations and things like that, because I was actually part of the demonstration for Bloody Monday. So these activities that you're talking about, were they the week before the 7th of February, or were they like months before?
Months before.
Okay.
The Independence Secretariat might have been started since in November.
Similar to what they're doing now?
Yes.
All right. Okay. And I was all taken up in the demonstrations
and we were based down at the Knights Inn. And nobody knows the Knights Inn now, but it was behind umbrellas.
Behind umbrellas?
Yes.
I thought Knights Inn was more by the Catholic Church, sorry.
No, Knights Inn was on the Montrouge Road, going towards Spice Island Inn. And the road going into Aquatic Club it was off that road.
Okay, okay. Right, so we had these celebrations of Steel Band, we had the cultural show, the history, and
historical pageant.
Well, you had a historical pageant.
We had the anthem.
And then we had the choirs. So these choirs now...
It was one choir, made up of many choirs.
All right, right. They were part of every show, sort of?
Sort of,
yeah.
But not every. Some didn't take part in it, some did. But it was a big group of people.
So you were in charge of that?
That was part of our, in cultural, in the cultural area, that was part of our remit.
So that was build-up time. Now, what happened on the 7th of February?
Well, I should tell you what it didn't happen was we could not rehearse properly because there was no gasoline. Or let's put it this way, gasoline was limited. It was being rationed. So for people to come to rehearsals, it was a challenge. So what they did was we brought them all down to the Carifta cottages. The Carifta cottages had been built for Expo 69.
Yes.
And we got 2 of the cottages, 2 large ones and 2 small ones. And one was for the men and the other one for the women. And the other one were used for utility purposes and the kitchen and the cooking and so.
So for those who are hearing this for the first time, where were the Carifta cottages located?
They were located from by the police station. In fact, the original police station in Grenada was one of the cottages, right down to the playing field.
So give us a visual location. The Carifta cottages were located on the lot of land that is now occupied by
IGA, Trade Center,
right?
Youth, what else? Youth Center,
right?
Yeah, police station,
and the Olympic,
right?
House. So, and so everybody could know where we are, because I, as a guide, went to the Carifta cottages and we had bonfires there. Yeah.
Lucky.
Before that, we used to go to quarantine station. It's a lot of history we talking here, Auntie Gloria. A lot of history, yes. So, all right. So you had gas, and all of this shortage was because of what? Because people were demonstrating, and one of the forms of demonstration was the withdrawal of their labor. They had struck. They weren't going out to work, and they virtually had closed down St. George's. I remember the port being closed down the week before. The port was closed down. Not long, but at least a week before. I don't think it was for long. Because the seamen and waterfront workers had joined with us in solidarity. The electricity workers had joined in solidarity. Water. Water too? I don't remember water. I remember we didn't have electricity in truth, and everything had. And having to cook on a coal pot. The water only came at certain times of the day when we were told to fill up. But there was also a scarcity of water. It was a general strike. But it did not hamper the celebrations. No. Right. So as a cultural officer, you got your participants to come down and stay at the Carifta cottages so that they'll be close enough for... To have rehearsals. We used to have rehearsals there, and then we would, at some point, we would go to the site of the activity. Where's that? In the Queen's Park. And what we now know as the stadium? What we now know as the stadium. Back then we still had that one pavilion. I wish I had a picture to show it. One pavilion. Excuse me. Okay. So, yeah, and actually we had a lot of fun. Grenadians have fun regardless. And that is where a lot of
well, I would say goodwill and camaraderie was built up among the cultural groups, because it wasn't, as the people from St. Andrews say, it wasn't a town thing, it was a Grenada thing. So it means that
participation from everybody.
Participation from everybody. In fact, I remember the big group, the biggest group in that arrangement was the Birch Grove group. They had a Lancers group. They had a band, and they
drummers had, or what? When you say a band, what kind of band?
A band to
with
play
guitar
for the Lancers. A guitar
and drummer and drum. Oh, okay, okay.
The guy who had the band was called Touches.
Touches.
He's since deceased. And we had a person called John Crew Alexander. I don't know if you keep hearing about him now. He's the same person that is giving out all the goodwill and support to Grenada in the form of material things. He brought a
John Crew.
He goes now by John Crow alone, but he's John Alexander.
Okay.
And that was his nickname, Crow.
Okay, yes, I think I've heard Crew. Yes.
But he was one of the members of the Birch Grove group, and we also had somebody called Val Jean Charles, who was, I would say she was the mother of the group.
So Birch Grove was the biggest group?
Yeah, Birch Grove Cultural Group was the biggest group. There was a gentleman who played the violin. He was Mrs. Charles's father-in-law. And he was part of he was roped in to be part of the orchestra.
Well, as you say, everybody
pulled together.
Yes.
And that's where we learned a lot of new songs.
Okay.
Because sometimes the songs that we thought we knew and we had, you know, the people from the rural areas knew more songs because they lived it.
I'm glad you said that. Was there a particular calypso or song like they have now for independence?
I don't think so.
No?
Except the one that won first prize. The original Inspectors Calypso won the first prize, and it was mainly about agriculture.
First prize when you had the competition for Calypso?
Yeah.
Carnival time?
Yeah. We had a work song that the men particularly liked it. I'm not a singer, but you know we have work songs in Grenada folk. You know what I work songs?
No.
You're working and you're singing a song that goes with what you're doing.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
yeah, but that's from the slavery days, yes.
If you're singing, you're digging potatoes, and no man can hold me. You know, like
like Harry Belafonte's Island in the Sun? Oh, Island in the Sun.
Well, like the Banana Boat song kind of thing, but these were Grenadian songs.
Okay, okay. So we did not have a specific theme song for Independence 1974, as far as you remember.
No, not a folk song. But
so let's move to the flag now. The Grenada flag. I'm going to ask you to hold it up, although you have all the nice colors in front of you there. I'm going to ask you to hold it up so the camera could get it. And so, right, no, don't hide your face, Auntie Gloria. We want to see your face. Thank you. Tell us about the flag. There are 6, 7 stars. We know the colors.
There are 7 stars on the flag.
Yes.
And they are supposed to represent the 7 parishes of Grenada.
Why is it supposed to?
Because we don't have 7 parishes. We have 6 parishes and 1 district. And the 1 district is Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
Why you call Carriacou a district?
because they had a district board and they had a district commissioner, and they were called a district, not a parish.
Is it because, all right, I just wondered if it's because it's separated by water.
No, not necessarily. It was, the two, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, was a district of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. So I always...
And that's from the colonial days, Auntie Gloria?
The district? Yeah, yeah. We had district boards too. We had all the local governments in Grenada.
Yes, so how come the rest is parish and this one alone is district?
Because parish related to church parishes too, eh?
But there was a church in, there's a Anglican and Roman Catholic was there?
They had parishes.
Okay, so we have 6 parishes and we
district.
have 1 district. Okay. The district is the one in the center? Sorry. Are you holding it back up? Okay. No. You could have left it on your lap.
Oh, I could have left it here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a nutmeg,
Mm-hmm.
which should always remain hanging down. If you ever see a flag, what must be something gone wrong. See a flag.
Okay, so we are, if we see the flag.
If you see the flag with the nutmeg up,
upside down, this way, that's wrong.
the flag is upside down.
All right.
And it's wrong.
Okay, so it must
The
be
nutmeg would always be pointing
down. Okay.
like how it hangs on the tree.
All right, good. But there's no branch there. All right. The colors now. It's interesting how the colors come in as a triangle to the center. I've always wondered about that. Is there a special reason for it to be shaped that way? Or?
I don't know.
No, okay.
The red is supposed to represent the fervor of the people.
The blood and sweat?
The green is supposed to represent the fertile
Soil?
and the agricultural backbone of Grenada.
Mm-hmm.
And the yellow, or the
gold.
green, or gold, sorry, which has to always remind ourselves as gold, not yellow, is supposed to, I'm reading now, the gold represents the warmth as a representation of the sun and the islands in the sun. Okay.
Okay. And that's the flag.
That's the flag, and the flag is what we call a national emblem.
So, the flag should not,
Touch the ground.
it should not touch the ground and,
Should not be hung upside down.
yes,
Should not be flown in the darkness. It should always be light on the flag. If it's flown in the night, you must put a light on it. Must
okay.
light it.
And it must be flown from a flagpole.
Must be from a flagpole.
So if you took the white part, don't fold it yet, Auntie Gloria.
This?
Yes, and held it up against your chin for me. No, the white part. The white part.
This part?
Yes. Is that a good way to hang the flag?
Yes, but it's not hoisted. So you're just hanging it like a decoration.
So
And
I'm just trying to establish
they
the
also
proper
say
way that they
the-
hang.
The flag,
Because then the
the
nutmeg
white part
is
of
now the nutmeg is now lying down in a
That's
different
right.
position. So
Or
it
the
should always
best
be
way is
hung.
always like this.
Should always be like that.
Yes.
Right.
And it should not be draped on anything.
Yeah. Well, what about?
Except a coffin of an important person at a state funeral. You drape the coffin in a the national flag.
The national flag has been flown on, but not flown, but draped on bonnets of cars.
Yes, and we say that's wrong.
That's wrong.
Yes.
What about these bandanas, the head ties that people buy?
Well, they're not flags. They're bandanas.
But it has...
A flag has to be flown on a mast. When you make it as an article of clothing, it might want to represent the flag, but it is not a flag.
Okay. Thank you, Auntie Gloria, for giving your time this afternoon to share with us on the flag.